Alright, so we have everything set up. We have the controller. The floating constant is actually connected to the light intensity and to the three separate channels of the ambient color and the incandescence. And now we just need to simplify things. So right now I have this group. If I arrow up, we have the entire group here, but the controller right now is on the light that would be in there. So if we actually go in and we see on the light there's a floating constant, but as I duplicate this and move it in, it'll be inside of there. It's going to be a little bit of a pain to keep on getting it. Plus, when I duplicate this, and I have several of them, this is going to make life a little bit more difficult. So we're almost done. We've got that floating point constant right here, which we see it's working and it's driving the material and the light. And what I want to do is I want to make a separate attribute connected to the group so that if I just select the ball and up arrow, I'll have access to a slider that will control that floating point value. So I'm going to select this. The first thing is I need to make the attribute that's going to be the controller. Excuse me. And then I have to make a set driven key to tell it what it's going to do. So I go to the group, like group 1, and in the channel box, under, let's see, where are you? Under Edit, I have an option to add attribute. Okay. And what this is this is going to pop up just like we have the translate, the rotate, the scale, and the visibility as a keyable attribute. It's actually going to attach a new attribute that I designate right here. This is asking us what kind. So first we'll give it a name. I'm just going to call this one light intensity. That's the name. Yes, I want a keyable because we are going to want to key it just like it is for the one over here. It is a floating point, which means it's a value like these guys, a single value that can go from a negative to a 0 to a positive that will control whatever values I have assigned to the floating point of the light. And how far do I want it to go? So it's a scalar, and the minimum will be 0 because there's no reason to have it create what would be called a negative light. And let's say the maximum value for this attribute is going to be 25. And the default that it starts off on will be 0. So name, float, scalar, minimum attribute of the property is 0, maximum attribute 25, default is 0. I hit OK, and boom, it shows up right at the bottom right there. Now, I could change its value. You could see as I middle mouse drag when I have the name selected, it goes from 0 to 25, but there's nothing attached to it. That's where we have to attach the floating point value that's driving the material and the intensity of the light to this with what's called a set-driven key. So, how do I do that? It's a little, a little bouncing back and forth, but it actually makes sense. I have to set a key that basically says 0 means 0 intensity, and 25 is whatever the maximum intensity of the floating point that I want to give it. It could be 25, it could be 150, it could be 1,000, but it's going to increment up to from between 0 to 25 to whatever that pre-designated value is. So what I need to do is go to Edit, and you see now with this selected, I have a new option. I have all these options, and what I want to do is create a set-driven key. So first I made the attribute, now I'm making the set-driven key. And that pulls up this little menu right here. Now, the driver is going to be light intensity. That's going to drive the floating point. So we have to flip this around. So load the driver, select light intensity. So for this particular group, the driver is light intensity. The driven, this is the little tricky part. It's not that tricky. I go to my hypershade because I don't have direct access to the floating point. But I select this floating point that's here in the hypershade that's connected to that light and the material. And that is going to be the driver, or the driven. So this guy is going to drive this. And you see I highlighted them. That's important. I literally can make it that every time the Y translate changes on the group that it actually changes the brightness. So just so you kind of get what that concept actually is. But for our intent, the attribute we created, light intensity, is the driver. The driven, I selected the floating constant. And the infloat is that value that's going to drive all these guys. So that's the driven. It's just we're sticking this on the outside of it. This is going to change the value of this, which will change the values of these. Okay, so now we have it. But I can move, minimize this. Well, not minimize, but just kind of tuck this away for a second. Because now I need to tell it what is the values. You see there's an option for keying it. And what this is saying is I have to tell it at 0 what value would the floating point be, and at 25 what value would the floating point, and I keep saying point, but it's floating constant, same thing, will be. I've got this. I've got access to the float constant easily. I'm just going to click here, up arrow, make sure my light intensity is set to 0. And when I check my float constant, it's at 0, and I'm going to key that. Boom. So at 0, this is 0, that's 0, it's keyed. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to that group. Up arrow to the full blast, which is 25, the highest it can go. And now I have to decide what value I want this to be. So as I increase this, I like to give myself a little bit of flexibility because let's say this is the maximum you want. You might want there to be like a pshh, where it goes like that and it just kind of flashes and comes down. So cranking it higher than you actually will use is actually pretty good because it gives you a little more flexibility of pushing it just a little bit further. So maybe I'm going to put it at 35, which is, you can see the light and the intensity is really hot. I might not do that constantly, but just I know that that's going to be the value that I would go for. And now that this is at 35, the float, the group intensity is at 25, and then I say key it. Okay. So now I'm going to move this out of the way. There's my light intensity, and if I middle mouse drag, there's 0, there's 25, and all points in between. And it works great. This is now a keyable property of this light. Okay. Which means I can right click, key selected, or if I have the group selected and press S, it's going to key all these attributes, including light intensity, which is really nice. That means that, wow, that's all I got to do. Now, that works great, but I may have a whole bunch of other lights. So the last thing is the process of duplicating, which works really well except for the material. Everything else is going to work great. So here's how we do it. It's a little tricky. Select it, up arrow so we get the group. I've got the group selected. And let me show you how to get to this special duplication menu. If I go to File, Edit, Duplicate Special Option, and whenever I say, oh, blah, blah, blah option, it means the little box to the right, which is the options for that particular function. So if I click on that, it pulls up my little menu here, and this is where you have to change things. By default, it'll look like this. We want to change this. I want the group under World. I want to duplicate the input graph and assign a unique name to the child nodes. What that basically means is that when I duplicate this, it's going to duplicate the light and the sphere, basically everything in the group, everything but that material. Okay, so if I just do a duplicate, a regular duplicate is not going to work right. I'm duplicating the input graph, which will in turn make a duplicate hierarchy of how all of this is laid out. So I'll have another set of these options that are in here minus the material, and then I'll show you how to fix that. So I've got this, duplicate special, and now I'm just going to move this up. And you see now I have two of them. Now, you'll notice this one is light group 2. So it actually changed the numeric value at the end of the name, group 1, group 2, which is nice. Okay. It also has a light intensity. So if I click on that one, you notice, hey, that one works too. But with one little difference, and that difference is you'll notice that the material itself is not changing. Okay. That's the only real difference. So how do we fix that? Let me show you. Hello. Okay, here we are. There it is. It's going a little batty. All right, so, oh, that's the originals. There they are. Kind of ran away from me. Press this, press. There we are. So what you'll notice now is that light 2, that duplicate I created, has a floating constant that's controlling the intensity. However, it does not have its own material. The sphere that I created that is in this duplicate carried over the original material. But that's okay, because all I have to do, here's that original material. Let me just boost that up a little bit so you can see it. Right there, maybe not that much. Down there. Light matte 1. So with it selected, all I have to do is just say edit, duplicate without network. And here's light material 2, just like 1 is. And all I have to do is take this floating point, this floating constant, keep doing that, and do the same thing and attach that. This is sort of a little pain in the butt, and hopefully you don't have a million lights you want to apply it to, but after you do it a few times, it's like it goes by really quickly and it's not that big of a deal. But now you can actually see there we go. And last but not least, that new material, I'm just going to middle mouse drag it right to that second ball right there. Oops. I have the ball selected. Right click on light map or light material 2, assign material to selection. And now let's try that again. There we go. So now this one has its highlight. This one, up arrow, has its highlight. And the very last thing to show would be keying it to save yourself time. So as I understand, you had it that one of these guys goes, pops on, kind of boom, boom, then the next one, boom, boom, and so on and so on. So here's a nice little quick way of doing it. In my timeline, let's just say we'll turn this one off. Turn this one off. That works really well, doesn't it? So this one, up arrow. Watch this. We go, we key it, key selected, so it's off. Let's say when we hit play, maybe at frame 15, I'm going to key it again. And the reason I'm doing that is that means it's locked, that it's going to stay black. It's going to stay off between frame 0 and 15. Now I'm going to go to frame 16. I'm going to raise it up a little. Key selected. Go a couple of frames more. Drop it down. Key selected. Key selected. Key selected. Maybe that one gets really hot. You'll see why I'm doing this. This is kind of neat. It goes really hot like that. Key selected. Key selected. Boom. Key selected, and then just a few frames down, it just drops down just a little bit to there, and then key selected. So if I hit play, let's take a look. I like that. That's cool. Now, here's the cool part of this. I have this down, I like that, and I'm going to shift select in my timeline and copy. Now I'm going to go to this group, up arrow, right click, paste. That looks cool, but watch this. I select this, shift select, grab, left mouse click, drag the center, and I'm going to offset it. Right about there. So now let's see what happens. There, I'm liking that. So if we have this, let's look at that again. And just imagine a whole ring of them. So it'll take a little bit of time, but you kind of see it, and you just repeat it over and over again. Save scene as. Always save, make multiple options. If you make a mistake or the machine crashes, which mine has been doing, and we hit save as, and now we have these different lighting effects. Great. Let me know if you have any questions on that, but this should actually work. And this also, you can use a simplified version of this, just keying attributes of the material if you want it. It doesn't have to be the whole thing.